Before we get started, anyone interested in ordering Mr. Lindell's 4-CD set, go to metaphysicalarttheater.com. For those in the U.S., you can order physical copies or the digital downloads. For those outside the U.S., you can order the digital downloads by going to metaphysicalarttheater.com.
How you doing, sir?
Just fine, thank you. And you?
I'm doing great. So today we want to talk about desire and destiny. I think a lot of times people, when they think about desire, they think about a hope so, but desire is so much more than that. That's when you got that fire inside of you and you're moving in that direction. What are your thoughts about desire?
That's it. That's it. What do you desire? I mean, what do you even know?
Yeah.
You see, I've asked so many people, do you know what you really want to do? Well, I mean, what you really like to have, the way you'd like to live, everydayness. And they just look at you, like, well, I don't know the answer. That's why I'm asking you the question. I know it for me, but I just don't know it for you.
Yeah.
But if you'll tell me a little bit, I'll help you get it to where you want to go.
Yeah.
But you have to know where you want to go. I can't help you if you don't know where you want to go. But it has been proven time and time again, and I've got proof of it right here, that your say is valid. In other words, you can spend it. And that's what you're doing. You're either spending your time or you're investing your time. And you know where it goes from there.
That's true. You said something. You said, the thing is, many people you inquire, you say, well, do you know what it is that you want or where you want to go? And most people are clueless, but a lot of times they're frustrated because they have no clue what it is that they want, but no one else can give that to them.
Yeah, but the thing of it is, they don't know what they want because even a thought of it is rejected as too much.
Yeah.
See, and that's ego does that for you. Because you see, he doesn't want you to know that you have a power. As long as he can keep you mesmerized, hypnotized, whatever you call it, because that's what we all are. You see, this is a virtual reality, and we're all asleep.
Yeah.
We're dreaming the dream. And here and there we get little deja vu kind of things, but we don't open them and quicken them. See, so therefore, the suggestion was there that there's something here for you to know, but you went away with it. You let it go. See, we have to pay attention to what we're paying attention to. You see, because what has your attention has your life. And if you're not enjoying your life, then get off of that intention.
Yeah.
Move it. I mean, I know you can move it. I mean, my wife could be laying there on a couch there and sleeping almost that, and didn't want to get up, didn't want to move, nothing. And I said, well, honey, would you like to go out and eat tonight? Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, up right there. She's up, ready to go. You see, you have to have a desire.
Yeah.
You see, nothing in your world moves until you desire something. But listen to this, subconscious mind takes how you feel as what you desire.
Okay.
Think about that one for a bit. It will make your world in accordance to how it thinks you're feeling. Do you know how you're thinking, feelingly? You see, because if you did, then you'd know where you're going. And if you know where you're going, you can watch the obstacles that are in front of you and get around them. But you see, you have to show up. You understand? You have to have a place where you show up to. In the scripture, it tells you to go in a closet. Okay. If you're living in a tent, you wouldn't have a closet, but you get the idea. It's just Go alone. Go in the closet, close the door. When you're alone, speak to your Father, which is in heaven. Now, that's what he said. He said for you to do that. Have you done that? Have you? Oh, yeah, I know you did a lot of times, but you didn't get any answers. Well, all I can tell you is that one of you didn't get it straight. Now I have to go with God. See, I really, because he's the one who's been supplying me what I want. So I'm going to go with him. But actually, it's that simple. It really is. It's all in you right here, right now. Everything you desire, it's already there. But you have to assemble it here. And that's what you're doing by being it in mind, in imagination, in the theater of mind. That's what you're doing. Whatever you're doing there, that's what you're experiencing. You're thinking ahead of your evidence. Even right now. I moved my arm. See, I just thought about it before I moved it. No, it's that simple. So you don't really notice it unless you're paying attention to notice it. And that is what you're thinking feelingly about, because that's what's making up your world of everydayness, is what you're thinking about now. Why? Is it lovely and a good report? Wonderful. Keep it up. If it isn't, why? Just ask your question. Ask yourself, why am I thinking nonsense, negative things, seeing things happen that you really don't want to experience? But why? Why are you doing it then? Because it's as you think you are. That pretty well nails you right down to now. See, and now we're told is the appointed hour of desired change. You make the change here, right now. I am that. That's the change. And this is a world of ideas, attitudes, and change. But you have to believe what you're changing to. And you already believe a lot of things right now. You believe it all. Oh, there a list would just be astronomical as to what you actually believe and are operating in and thinking about and through. But is it what you want to experience? That's what you want to keep track of. Is that what you want to experience? Because thinking makes it so. There it is. Isn't that what it says? Thinking makes it so.
That's absolutely so. Yeah. You said something. I want to touch on, you said, is that what you want to experience? Now, many people, when they're thinking, they think, of course, I'm just thinking, and there's no consequences for that thought. But you asked the question, is that what you want to experience?
That's it. If you're thinking ahead of your evidence, then all you have to do is look at the evidence of your experiencing, and you know what you have thought. Now, that connection does a great thing for you, because it allows you to see that it was thinking here that made this situation here. See, now that's something you want to consider. What you're thinking here is setting up something to happen here. Now, if you don't know what you're thinking here, then when this happens, you'll be surprised. But if you knew what you were thinking here was going to make it here, you see, it probably wouldn't even evolve.
That's true. That's true. I hope that they go back and listen to that, because, you're kind of really giving them the basics of what's transpiring. You're using both hands, and you're speaking of 2 points in time that, of course, what you're thinking at the moment, because all thought is happening right now, but that now is always projected into your future now. So you said if you're not mindful of what you're thinking now, then you may find yourself surprised in that future now.
And would you remember that? Oh, I thought about that. I did. Well, that's what a woman told me. She said, you know something? You were absolutely right. It took at least half of my day thinking about a cancer because they said something, and that something happened in me, and I was upset. And then I started thinking about, and she said, and you know what? Went to the doctor, and he said, you know, you're susceptible, but you're not yet. You see, not yet.
Yeah.
So in other words, he's telling you it's what you're thinking about it makes it so. And scripture tells you that thinking makes it so. What a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So does he. So it's right. It's spelled right out for you. I mean, if I got it, believe me, you can get it. And you can just ask him. He's been trying to teach me this computer stuff. Oh, Lord. But it is fun, isn't it?
It is fun. It is fun. I like that you kind of gave this scenario about the woman who confirmed what it was that you told her. And I've seen so many people that are living out the sentences of other people, whether it be doctors or whatever. And simply because somebody made a suggestion, whether it was on TV or whatever, or family history, whatever the suggestion is, we own it and then it becomes ours. And we say, why me? Why this? Why now?
Yes. And you're suggesting to yourself as well as they're suggesting to you. And all you have to do is repeat theirs a few times, and then it's yours.
Yeah.
And not only that, you get to wear the costume that goes with that idea. You see, because hey, you're not your body. I mean, you have one. And you say, well, I wouldn't have chosen this one. How about you did? If you're wearing it, you chose it because you're given choose this day. And that covers every department of your life. And you are doing so. And if you would catch yourself setting yourself up for an argument of something that you just thought it up. And that's what you do. You think stuff up, and then you get enraged about it. And then the rage is fed by the same ideas that are looking for a rage to bond with. And then you just go all to pieces. And that's what another woman told me. She says, you know, I thought I had it together, but you know, things happen and whew, you just go, your mind just, it just goes in a state I've never experienced before. And I go, well, there's going to be a lot of states you have never experienced before you're going to get to experience, because you're going to dream them up. If you're dreaming up the stuff you're telling me about, oh, you're a subject. If I can get you to think about what you're thinking about, I mean, actually listening to what you're thinking about and what you're feeling about what you're thinking about. Now, if you'll just do that, you'll find probably 90% of your displeasure of what's going on around you. You have, when you have an anger at something, you have to put it somewhere. See, you can't wear it too long. It'll really wear you down. So you got to put that anger somewhere else. So you make somebody else angry. And that's not hard. I mean, it's really easy to make somebody else angry. I mean, who here, not an audience here, but when I'm speaking to an audience, I say, who here don't believe that they can walk outside and cause a problem? Why can't you go out and cause a lovely thing, a lovely thought? Why aren't you thinking lovely thoughts anyway? If as you think you are, it seems to me that would be the first thing you do, is think on things that are lovely and a good report. And that's what scripture tells you to do. And if you're not doing it, why not? It was a gift, wasn't it?
It was.
It's a gift from God. I mean, you think he'd give you a bogus gift? No, of course not. Yeah, well, you can make a bogus out of yourself. You can do that. That's for damn sure. Attitude, attitude, attitude. I really can't stress it in any other way that makes it plainer than just your own attitudes. And like I said, there's hundreds of books in here where every one of them agree on one thing, that man is his attitudes. I mean, it's laid out for you. You see how you're acting and how people are reacting according to how you're acting. And like I said, with Shakespeare told you, all the world's a stage and all the men and women are merely actors and you're playing a part. Did you choose the part? That's the question that's important. Did you choose the part you're playing? And if not, why not change it? Isn't that right?
That's absolutely right. You talked about desire earlier. You said, listen, your feeling is a desire. So if you're feeling negative or melancholy or depressed, then that's making a request in your world. So be mindful of what it is that you're feeling.
Yeah, I mean, come on. You go and you ask for gifts and you don't believe you're going to get them. You know, like I said, stay home and practice believing. Really, I mean, wouldn't that be more beneficial to them? I mean, really, if everything you're told is as you believe it is to you, and your world is coming through you, not to you. But if you're judging by appearances, which we're told not to do, not to judge by appearances. So, but if you're judging by appearance, it appears to be coming to you from the without. So, see, that's why I tell you go sit in the silence, because until you become silent for a while, you really don't know anything you're doing in your mind. I mean, you have how many thoughts was it a day?
Easily 70, 80,000 thoughts a day.
70,000 thoughts a day. So, but you know, like I say, what really counts are the ones that you grab onto. See, because that then you got to go that route. See, if you grab on that, you got to go that route. I mean, look, guy steals a car, winds up going to jail. See, now he knew that there was that possibility, but if he completely could have ignored that possibility, he could have got away with it. But you see, we have that still small voice inside of us, and it's telling you, "Oh, you think so? Huh? Oh, okay, I told you choose this Dave, so don't holler at me." So, but because who are you going to blame? Yeah, God's all things to all. Who are you going to blame? But He's all things to all because of what you choose. Wasn't that it? You choose.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and you are choosing. If you're thinking about it, you're feeding it. Do you know that what you really hate, the more you hate it, the more you're feeding it, and the more he sticks around for you to hate him some more? I mean, you're doing it to yourself. You're told all denial is self-denial. God's not denying you anything. He tells you to ask. In fact, He tells you the reason you don't receive because you don't ask. And someone says, "What do you mean I don't ask? I'm in there and I'm praying every day, every day, every day, every day." Wait, he's hard hearing. I mean, come on. If you ask and you believe that if you ask, you receive, and if you receive it, you get up with it and leave with it. If you don't, then you didn't believe any of it. So stay home and practice believing what you actually desire to experience, because you're going to experience something, whether you believe it or not. There's enough people around you will give you their opinion. And if you get sucked into their opinions, well, then you go their trip. And that's what God's doing with you. He gave you choose this day, and He's going with you. He tells you, "I suffer with you, but you behold me not. I'm right here with you. I'm nigh present." What do you need to know? Just you and I, we can chat together. I'll listen to you. I told you to come in and talk to me, so I'm already agreed to listen to you. But please, don't bore me. Tell me how wonderful things are with you and how they're getting wonderful more every day. So if you're pleased with it, I'm pleased with it. If you're sad about it, then I have to suffer the sadness with you. So what you choose, I experience also. Think about that. And that might be, if that doesn't bring up a thought or two with you, why you are asleep. And we all are in varying degrees of intensity and intense asleep, because no one's really awake. I mean, if you're really awake, you're not here. And that's not to scare you. That's the blessing. Attitude, attitude, attitude. Just remember that your life of everydayness is your attitude expressed. Because as you're impressed, you express, good or otherwise. Is that right?
That's absolutely right. I like that you said earlier, when you bind with other people and their beliefs, then you take the trip with them. And you said, listen, God is taking the trip with you as you think you are, you do, you have, you be. So kind of expound on that trip that we're often taking, and many of us think that we're taking the trip unwillingly.
Oh, no, 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 no. No, no. Love forces nothing. This was all voluntary. The sons came down of their own will. He didn't force them down here. And he's not forcing you. He told you choose this day. So he gave you open road. Where are you going with it? Is that it?
That's it. That's it.
I mean, I see it that simple. And I know if I got it, it had to be simple. I mean, I'm not playing any games with you. I had no training of any kind. It just zap, and it happened. And I knew from that moment, well, I knew, but I didn't know what it was. I knew, but I knew that what I do know will be important when I find it out. I mean, it's difficult to, and well, you couldn't convince somebody else anyway. We're not here to convince you of anything, because you hear the message. It's your message. So if you accept it, fine. And that's all you have to do is accept it. It's your message. In other words, God left himself a message of awakening. He left himself a remembrancer to remember who he was, because he forgot who he was to be you. And he's taking this trip with you. Do you know where you're going? Because if you don't, then I don't. And then you're always surprised. Oh, why me? Why this? Why now? Yes, yes, yes. You know, if you can't go into God's house, as they call it, in a happy mood, don't go at all. Really, no. Don't go over to whining and crying to God. Come on. He gave you everything. He told you choose this day, and look what you've done with it. You know, I don't know where I heard it, but they themselves are makers of themselves. I mean, he said the same thing.
He does.
I mean, it's what are you thinking about? I mean, see, the thing of it is that we're so involved in the world that we can't really squeeze out time for self. I mean, to actually feel what self is feeling, and be able to answer why. See, and you can give the answer yourself, and that's the reason why you're told to sit in silence and consider what it is you're thinking, feelingly about generally most of the time. And you'll say, well, 90% of it's just everything going on around me. You know, that's exactly it. That's it. You say that, and I think the other part is just when you're either in the shower, eating, or sleeping. So in other words, you got no time for you. And Owen's shaking her head there. Yes, she said, that's it. That you hit that right on it. Right, that was it. No time for me. No, but there's gonna be time for me. Thank you. What can I say? You know, it's always up to the individual, because this is about the individual. Okay, we're not talking about groups. We're talking about the individual, and you cannot deny being an individual. You may be driven by outside forces, but then that's generally a life you don't like. But the more you're driven by your force to yourself, to think feelingly only on things that are lovely and of good report, and then that's what you'll experience. That's what Scripture is telling you, that as you think, you as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, so does he, so has he. I mean, come on. It's so plain that it sounds so simple. Someone says, well, I don't believe that. Well, have you tested it? You know, there's a lot of things you don't believe, but have you tested them? See, then you don't really know anything about it if you haven't tested it. So how can you deny something you haven't even tested? You ask for help, and God's giving you help. I mean, you know, look at DeCarlo sitting over there. He's willing to help you all the time. He is, and he'll give you the same messages we're talking about. He'll give you these messages too, that you're in charge. You see that the thing of it is that you being in charge means you get to choose anything you want, because whatsoever was what was on the platter, and you can gorge yourself with it if you want, because you're allowed. You're allowed. When I gave you choose this day, that was when you were allowed. But what are you choosing? See, that all you have to ask yourself, what am I thinking about most of the time? Because that's your life, isn't it?
It is. It is. You know, you were speaking earlier and you were talking about, of course, the choosing. Many people think that their life is fixed. They think that this thing we call the virtual reality is fixed, and nothing can be further from the truth. And you say, listen, the potential is whatsoever. Once people tap into the whatsoever and begin to realize that this thing we call reality isn't fixed, it's going to transform their lives.
Well, and actually, you're not even dealing with reality. This is a virtual reality, because it can't be reality, because reality, we're told, is changeless. You see, and everything here is in the motion of changing, this disintegrating, right? Even while we're watching it, it's at a slow pace, but it's happening. Attitude about all of this stuff here, it all had to come out of the mind of man. I mean, is there anything here that you dug up out of the ground except for the materials it took to make it? And then it was put together by people out of somebody's mind to do it, and somebody's mind to see that it's done, and on and on and on and on until you got the product. It's the same thing with you. You have to think about what you want to do, and then do a thing, and you shall have the power. Now, it's all really that simple. It really, really is that simple. As a matter of fact, I even have trouble with it, with the simplicity of it, thinking, oh, come on. How many times I said to myself, oh, come on, you're kidding yourself. It can't be like that. But I'm here as a living witness. You can be like that. You can understand. You are given to know first person, not in a group, but one by one, because that's how you're called. One by one. Nobody goes one by one. And you say, oh, yo, what about a plane going down? All of them died. Yeah, well, that's not being delivered. That's just the next step In other words, there's nothing transforming in death. You just pick up right where you left off, and we're a ding dong today, you were ding dong then. So it really, no. I'm not saying anything to make anybody mad at me. Really. It's just, I'm just giving it to you as I understood it, and that was the beautiful thing about it, because I know that it was really down here that I got it, and from way up here. So no excuses, no justifications, no reasons. I have no idea. The only thing I ever did was I asked, and I asked believing, and I did receive, and so shall you. And God's made that promise to you. Isn't that right? That's a promise, isn't it? Yeah, and it's for everybody, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to touch on something you said earlier, and it goes back to what you just mentioned about your asking and your receiving. You said when you first experienced it, it came as a zap, and all of a sudden you realized that there were some things that you knew that wasn't of your knowing, but they were things that were given to you. And I want to touch on this because I know that you're private, and that's fine, but people don't understand what the promise is.